thanks so much for joining us on the show today. And I would like for you to give a big warm welcome to my guest, Josh Willcutts. He is a singer-songwriter here in Nashville, and he's the founder of a nonprofit ministry called Jesus in a Bar. And their goal is to take light into dark places, and they do amazing work. And I'm so excited to have him here. So welcome. I'm glad you're here, Josh. I know I kind of did a little background on you and music, and I just want to kind of start. I want to get to the Jesus in a Bar part and Crossroads in your life, but also like, where did music start that foundation for you?
Wow. So that takes me way back. My mom is actually a fantastic guitar player. And so as a kid, I grew up listening to her play all the time. And she has this thing where she will write a song on the spot. She loves writing birthday songs for people. But
Oh my gosh,
she has
I
this
love that.
fearlessness in front of an audience when she has a guitar in her hand. I'm more fearful than she is in front of an audience, but she will spontaneously write a birthday song for somebody, and or just any song for that matter. And so she would write a lot of music. I was around a lot of music growing up, and the first instrument that I decided to pick up was super bizarre that I did this. But there's more to this story for why I did this. My very first instrument was the button accordion.
Okay.
And I played Celtic
I'm
music.
so glad you got there because we were going to go there, whether you got there or not.
Yeah, you said what started the music
So
thing?
bring it.
Bring out
That's
the
great.
accordion. I should have brought it today.
Oh my
Should have brought my
gosh.
button accordion. Yeah.
Okay. It's just so unusual and not very common. So why?
So,
not in a bad way, but like,
yeah,
I think it's
know.
fun.
I ask
think it's
myself
great.
that question all the time.
You're like,
I was like, why didn't I play guitar or something more normal? Well, what I would say the reason behind it it's a bigger story. I actually grew up in a commune as a kid.
Okay.
Like a Christian commune.
Okay.
Very intentional. I've lived in a bus. I've lived in a tent. Like, it was hardcore.
Yeah.
And the community at some point in time started to do Irish music. Like, that became popular in the community.
Oh, wow.
There were in the early days of the community, there were a lot of rules around music. So secular music would have been a big no-no. Even like modern Christian music would have been a big no-no. But Irish music, Celtic music, was very wholesome. I don't know if you recall something called Riverdance.
Yes.
Yeah. So this was years ago. It shows how old I am. But we had some of the older kids in the community that started a dance troupe, started an Irish band, and I was watching one of the guys play accordion at an event, and who would actually later become my brother-in-law. He married my sister, but he was playing accordion. And for some reason, as a kid, I don't know if it was the melody he was playing this like really haunting march on accordion. And I just thought, I'm going to play that.
I love that.
And so I played it. And I mean, I've since then, growing up after that, we started a Celtic band, me and some of my buddies. And then we did that for probably 7 years. And at one point, I actually went over to Ireland and competed in the All-Ireland Championships with another band. And we won as an American band, which was so pretty unusual. But that was the early stages of my music life, I guess you could say, career. And eventually, because I had such a love for writing, writing words, stories, as well as writing music, the two kind of married each other. And where that happened was on the piano, because my fingers had the dexterity now from playing accordion to kind of go over to the piano, and the piano kind of offered a better canvas, a better instrument to write words on top of, because I was doing a lot of like poetry at the time, and those two things married together. Because on the accordion, I only wrote instrumentals. I never like had songs. It was more like a lead instrument in the band. We just did a lot of instrumentals, and so piano was kind of my beginning instrument for songwriting, and so that's where it all happened.
I love that. Well, and I think one of the reasons I was curious about the accordion too is it seems to me, because I'm totally ignorant about it.
Yeah.
It seems like a really complicated instrument. So to have that as your first that you learned on and like became very proficient. I mean,
I was decent at it. Yeah. Yeah.
That's really amazing. And I love that you could translate that to the piano. I've had several discussions, and I've started playing the piano when I was 6.
Okay.
And I still try guitar. I keep trying. then I get to a point, I
Hurt your
stop.
fingers?
I don't know.
Calluses? I don't know.
No, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
I cannot make that mental
Mm.
translation for keys, octaves, or
Yeah.
anything from the keyboard to the neck of the guitar.
Yeah.
I don't know why. And so
Okay.
I
That's
I
probably a
always
good thing though, actually.
You think? Because I'm very impressed when people can do it. So I'm very impressed that
Yeah.
you could do
Well,
that.
I love like jumping over to another instrument because it's almost like discovering a new planet. If you try
Oh, I like that.
if you try to take everything you learn from the one instrument and apply it to the other, there's less to discover. And sometimes it's almost like, especially in writing, sometimes I'll move to the guitar and do writing. And sometimes the less I know about the instrument, the more opportunity I have to write melodies that I wouldn't come up with if I naturally just did the same things I always do on everything else. And so
Oh,
don't be afraid of the unknown, of like not being able to bring the piano into the guitar. So I don't know, just a thought.
okay, that truly I needed because when I co-write with people and I'm working on the words and they usually are on the guitar.
Yeah.
And I've thought the opposite.
Okay.
I've always been intimidated
No.
by not doing it, but I love that. That's
Yeah.
like opening up a whole part
Yeah.
of my creativity
Oh
to
gosh.
say, no, do the unknown, jump on, do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Or without an
That's
instrument.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even write without one sometimes, because I find that I limit myself sometimes just because of the progressions I am so often drawn to on whatever instrument I'm playing. Like sometimes I just want to get away and just and that's why it's helpful to have other musicians in the room, like
Mhm.
you're saying, because they'll
Mhm.
do something different you can build a melody on. But anyway, yeah.
Okay, that is awesome. So there we are now going into, I do want to know more about how you write, like your process, like what inspires you.
Mm.
And I guess maybe too with that.
Yeah.
So Irish music, which
Yeah.
I love that. And I went to Ireland a few years ago. My last name is Shannon, so of course you know the Irish background, and got to go hear live music there, and there's just nothing like it. The storytelling
Yeah.
was just phenomenal, and
Mm.
it kind of unlocked a whole new piece of that too
Mm.
in my brain.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't know
For sure.
about you. So you competed Ireland, you won, which is amazing. How did you transition into what you are now writing, or how did
Yeah.
your writing career, I'm going to call it, because
Sure.
it is now. I mean, right?
To some degree. I don't know. Maybe. I hope.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Well, and then I do want to talk about all the ways you're reaching out
Yeah.
into the world with your writing and other people.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did your writing start as far as with
Mm.
because you're writing Christian music, right?
Yeah, I write all kinds of music.
You do?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about that. Like
Yeah.
where are you? Well, where do I want to go with this? I have so many questions for you.
Come on. Ask me.
Okay. First, what's your inspiration for writing?
Inspiration. Wow.
Are you one of those that you
Mm.
go, "Oh, I just had this thought, or I heard this story, or I saw this
Mm.
thing, that should be a song"?
I would say some of that, but believe it or not, one of the biggest inspirations for me with writing is just the music itself. A lot of people will, some people, especially in Nashville, the way
Mhm.
a song is written is it starts with a hook. So, I've started songs this way. You
Mhm.
read a good book, you have a conversation with a person, you hear somebody say something, you experience something, and you summarize it in some words that have never been used before to
Mhm.
describe that situation. And that's a great constructive way to start a song. My favorite way and the most natural way for me is to build it on top of the music. I will get a melody in my head. I'm just a melody person.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
that.
and I feel like I'm a big believer that melody is king in a song. A lot of people in Nashville might not agree with me on that, but when we think of the most timeless songs,
Mhm.
where a melody comes to our mind beyond a word. And you see this even and I know we'll get to some of this later with Jesus in a Bar, but you see this in nursing homes, because we'll go into nursing homes and you play for dementia patients who have forgotten most everything. But you play a song from their past and the melody triggers something. And even like, let's just take a song like Don't Stop Believin'. The moment you hear that riff on the piano,
So true.
it brings you somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's not the words. If you listen to the words of that song, it's kind of like, okay, whatever. The words by themselves are just, they're
Yeah.
kind of cool. But I've found that I believe music is a language. I think it's a language of the soul even. And I can play a song for 10 people in a room that all speak a different language, and they'll all connect with that melody in some way. And it inspires dancing and movement and feeling. And so when I'm sitting at the keyboard and I begin to play a melody, it's almost like the language of words begins to try to describe what I'm playing. It tries to translate the melody of the music.
Interesting.
And the words sometimes feel like these words belong to this melody. And the melody just kind of passes through and goes on its way if you don't do anything with it. And so for me, the biggest inspiration for writing, I think, is the melody of a song. Like just playing, I could just sit there and play the piano and I'll start singing things that make no sense at all. And eventually words emerge out of those things. And those words construct into an idea that actually is cohesive. And then suddenly there's a song.
That's beautiful. I'm the exact opposite.
Wow. Okay.
Seriously.
Okay.
So
you like
I
words.
love hearing that's how it happens for you. Because
Yeah.
I'm the exact, like complete opposite.
Complete
of that.
opposite.
Complete.
Okay.
Which is why it takes all kinds of people to come together and do things. But as you were describing that, I'm like,
Yeah.
And that's, I think when the words come to me, I'm always like, I want that really cool melody that like gets, because you're right. If you look back on memories in life and the way songs trigger, like I can be transported back to when I was a kid like that.
Yeah.
And just to add on to the nursing home, I used to play the piano just to go volunteer and play during like dinner time in a nursing home.
Okay.
Because I'm kind of weird this way. I love like the old standards.
Yeah, that's not weird.
I love that. And the old hymns.
I love old hymns.
And I love
timeless.
Yeah. So I would take my hymnal and I would take
very Irish sounding too.
That's true. Hey, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
It resonates with my people.
Yeah.
But I also would play, like Fly Me to the Moon or, the old just like really
Haunting.
standard
Beautiful.
songs from like the 50s, 60s-ish. And it was amazing. They would wheel people into their tables and they would just like not even be paying attention. And then I would start playing. Sometimes I would sing, but most of the time I would just play.
Yeah.
And I would look around while I was playing and you could see them like actually mouthing the words. And it was like,
that's crazy.
Because those songs were such a big part of their growing up, I guess, and stuff. So I love that. You put it such a beautiful way. I can't wait to watch this back and go, I need to incorporate more of that. And I think that's good inspiration for anybody watching.
Yeah.
To understand a process.
Oh, yeah.
For somebody who does it like you do or differently and go, hey, I've got my own, I think God gives us all our own way of, you're uniquely created and here's what I want you to feel like singing about, literally.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool. That's really great.
Yeah. And I think that I do think that in Nashville, the approach you like to take is probably more efficient. Just starting with a good hook and lyrics. And I'll do that as well. I'll do that as well. That seems to be the Nashville way, but I still do love melodies. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. So how did you get to Nashville?
Wow. That's also a crazy story.
Let's jump to that. Because I'm like, all of a sudden I'm going, wait, I don't know how did he get to Nashville? How did you get to Nashville, Josh?
Yeah. So I grew up in a super small town in West Tennessee called Selmer, south of Jackson. Grew up in a commune.
Yep.
That could be a whole podcast right there. Just I had a crazy childhood, and great, just a lot of different things all in one bucket, as we all do with our childhood. But what got me to Nashville, I always, like I said, I played music, was writing songs, and the time when I finally left this small town, right before that I was working in a warehouse. I worked there for I guess like 7 years. And I had moved up into the manager position at the warehouse. And I felt like I was living in two worlds at the same time. Like I was working this job, but my heart was always in music and songwriting. And I always had this dream of maybe doing music for a living. And I remember I would literally, at one point my job was to ship out packages. We were a distribution company. And I would take like invoices and write on the back of them song lyrics. And I had my little, at the time, flip phone, and I would record melodies into the flip phone, and I was always in these two worlds. And at at this time when I had moved up into management, and I was like kind of looking down the road of life, where I was going to be, and I could see almost like a fork in the road. Like at some point you have to go either this way or that way. Sometimes the two things you're thinking about aren't going in the same direction. And so I actually remember saying a prayer. It was a Friday night, and I asked the Lord to give me a sign on what to do with the next chapter of my life. And the following Monday, I was at work, and this truck driver showed up to pick up a shipment of packages. And usually at businesses like this, you'll see the same drivers regularly. I'd never seen this guy before. And I remember he was super happy, which isn't always the personality of a truck driver. Nothing against truck drivers, but this guy was just super. It wasn't a normal personality for anybody hardly, but he was just super, super happy. And he asked me how that business had started, and I tried to make a somewhat generic story as cool as I could. And I told the true story, but I just said, somebody took a risk on a product, became a great success, and here we are. And he said, man, I love those kind of stories. He said, that guy had a dream. He took a chance on it. He said, look, and look what happened. Now he has this business. And he said, there's so many people in the world today that have a dream and never take a chance on it. And then he went on to say, he made it personal about him. He said, I had a dream when I was younger, and I never took a chance on it. And now I'm a truck driver. And I said, well, what was your dream? And he said, I always wanted to be a singer-songwriter. And I just thought that was like too ironic, because I had just prayed, and even like his little speech leading up to that moment, I was like, okay, maybe God's speaking through this guy. And he also went on to say, and I don't always include this in the story, and we both agreed on this, is that though he is a truck driver, that's not all that he is. Like sometimes we summarize our identity in our careers. True. And that's something that that part of what he said to me has come into my mind. But all that to say, that was like a green light. I think I'm taking that from Matthew McConaughey. I don't know if you've read that book.
No, I have not.
But that was like, I need
but I might need to.
That's a sign to me. And I'm a guy that's always kind of looking at the signs, the road signs of life. And shortly after that, one of my best friends who I had started playing music with in the commune, he had moved away, but he played guitar in the Celtic band. And then we had gone on to write some of the first songs I had ever written, and sing. And he passed away in a car crash at 24 years old.
Oh my gosh.
And he was like a brother to me. And his death in that moment, with the words that truck driver said to me, were the combination that pushed me out the door of this little town into Nashville. And I remember my boss had written on one of my paychecks, please don't ever leave this business, and let me know what I can do to keep you here. And so the timing was, there's always those things that happen at the same time. And I was just like, when somebody passes away that you were close to, especially that young, it just does something. It makes you realize how finite life is, how fragile life is, and how much time we waste on meaningless things or just in fear. And so it was like, I took that dream that was sitting on this dusty bookshelf, and I was like, I'm going to go to Nashville. I'm going to do this. And so in 2015, 11 years ago of February, I believe it was, I got in my little Toyota RAV4, and I packed all my things up, and I drove to Nashville, moved to Nashville to chase a dream.
That's awesome. And I'm sorry for your loss of your friend, because that is devastating.
Yeah.
And it's devastating
Ezra Briggs,
anytime.
he was an amazing guitar player.
Oh.
Amazing talent. Talented at everything he ever did. Sports. He was always the best at everything. Yeah. And just a kind person.
And that's huge too, to have that.
Yeah.
And not that successful people can't be kind, but
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I love that though, because it's I love those moments where we can look back in life and go, okay, that was such a hard time, and that was so awful, and
crazy.
I could have gotten buried in that, and then I mean, maybe even we don't see it in the moment, but then you look back and go, and the Lord just took that random conversation
Yeah.
and took this and all of it and just made this gorgeous buffet for me to go, okay. Because, as we also know, there are times in life where we have these long seasons of just waiting.
Yeah.
And we might pray for a sign.
Sure.
And, I've been in that. I'm probably in one right now, but I've been in those a lot. And that's a really hard time. So I especially love it that you prayed and then you were paying attention. That's the other thing. That's our part. People always go, well, it's God. It's like, yes, it's God, but we have to pay attention.
It's a conversation.
And then we have to act. We have to be willing to go, okay, because I did similar. I packed my car and my dogs, and I didn't know a soul in town and moved here.
Wow.
And 5 years ago. And people were like, why? What?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then you just go, I just know I'm supposed to. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, is that kind of how you felt? Like, I am supposed to go do this, and I'm going to go after this now?
Yeah. I think I was just also, and even just, I was ready for something new too, But I felt no fear. And you know what else is crazy is a lot of people talk about missing home. I never look back to this day. I never had that moment where I was like, oh man, I'm just missing home, or I don't ever remember having that. And I think it was because I prolonged going somewhere for so long.
Oh, yeah.
I think I love discovering new people and new places. And so that wasn't a challenge for me once I got out the door. It's just getting out the door. Once you're on the journey, you're like, what's that quote from Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit where it's Fellowship of the Ring, Tolkien fans here, where Bilbo tells Frodo, it's a dangerous business going out your door, Mr. Frodo. If the wind blows, there's no telling where you might be swept off to, or something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but it's exciting. It's fun. Yeah.
I try to embrace that.
Yeah. And dangerous. So.
See, again, I've had moments of, for the first two years, I felt like I was a constant, should I go home? Should I stay here? Should I go home? Should I stay here? And things were happening here, like different things. Different than this. This is a whole different crossroad that I came to doing this show, which is pretty new. But I had that, and I think I've put that down because I know I'm here for good. Sorry, anybody who's watching that I haven't told that to. But I do have friends and family that are still like, when are you coming back? I'm like, this is my place.
Okay.
Yeah. But I had a struggle with that. And I don't know, God finally knocked me in the head and said, let it go. And then I found out I have roots here. My grandfather left.
Oh, wow.
Northwest Tennessee. And I have like 4 generations of graves I found up there. I'm
My
like,
goodness.
Who knew? So that kind of stuff, when you talk about, I love how you said, well, first of all, you had to get out the door.
Yeah.
The fact that you're paying attention, and then you went, okay, I'm going to pursue it. And you got here. So what'd you do when you got here? Did you jump into songwriting? Did you go, I got to get there and make a living, support myself, pay my bills?
Yeah. Again, I'm a slow mover. I got here and it took me a minute to even go and perform. And the first place I performed was at this little coffee shop called Cafe Coco. Were you here when that existed?
No, I don't think so.
It was the most bizarre place, but the food was so good. The crowd was so interesting. And there was a guy that did this little open mic night. And it's those small little things that later in life, you're like, man, that meant so much to me. And I played a song that I'd written called Windy Hill, and it was about the road I grew up on. It was like saying goodbye to that road. And I remember one of the guys in the room told me, he's like, dude, when you played that song, I felt the temperature in the room change. It got warmer in here. And I was just like, and it meant so much to me. And I remember feeling the attention of the people in the room, like listening to what I was saying and the power of the song, like to grab their attention. And I took them to that road, I believe. And we walked down it together, and they felt what I felt. And that was super inspiring for me. And that was like, for somebody that has played in Nashville a long time or is like a braver person than me, they would have been like, dude, that was a little open mic, like get over yourself. But that moment was like, I could do this. And then
That's huge. That's a huge
yeah.
moment.
And so there was like little moments like that. There was a moment where I pitched a song at NSAI.
Mhm.
You know NSAI?
Yep.
Let's go NSAI. That was like a great like landing spot for songwriting. And they did the pitch to publisher night, and I remember playing a song that was I only had a voice memo of it. And I didn't realize going in, this room's full of people pitching, like this publisher sits at a table and listens to a verse and a chorus, and they're all pitching like these, polished demos. And I go up there and I'm like, open up my voice memo. And the girl at NSAI had told me, hey, that's a commercial song I'd written called I Won't Let You Go. And I held it up to the for the publisher to hear it. And he actually said, I'll take that. And that was like another like, oh my gosh.
Okay, that's huge.
That was crazy. Yeah. And to this day, the song's never been cut or anything. I've released it, but I mean, still, it was like, it's, sitting in the archive somewhere. But that was, again, I was like, whoa, like this is so exciting, such an adventure. And so the first thing I did writers rounds, and I did some of those things. And as far as work went, I started bartending because I heard that was a good career path for a songwriter, and I have a lot to say about that. But that's where I ended up. I was a bartender at a few different bars in Nashville, and one of those bars in particular really changed my life, and it was a bar called Belcourt Taps.
Okay.
Have you heard of it?
No.
I'm shocked you're a songwriter and you hadn't. Yeah, shame on you. No, it no longer exists. R.I.P. But it was a haven for songwriters, and I feel like someone could write a book about it, make a movie about it. It is everything that you would imagine the Bluebird. No offense to the Bluebird, but it had more soul than what I feel when I go into the Bluebird. And it was the same kind of environment where it was just songwriters. Everybody, I mean, Marion Morris played there, Luke Combs played there. All these people before they were big were playing in this little dysfunctional, crazy living room of a bar.
How long ago was this? Has it been a while?
It was around for much longer than I was in Nashville, or a little longer for sure. But it closed shortly after 2020. 2020
Oh, okay.
drove the final nail.
All right,
into
I
the
wasn't here
coffin.
yet, but
Oh, wow, you're new.
yeah.
Goodness.
Okay, but I'm sad because it sounds like an amazing place to go.
I wish
hang out.
Could have seen it. It was crazy.
I know, me too.
Yeah.
Write that book.
Maybe. Yeah.
I think you should.
It's definitely a part of my story. So yeah, Belcourt Taps.
Okay, so that changed your life. Was it playing that you were working there, right?
Yeah, it was. Because again, I even when I started working there, it's a songwriters bar. I was just looking for a job, and I had been working at a bar downtown, and one of the girls that would come down to this downtown bar. Her boyfriend played music in the band that would play, and when our bar was going to be renovated, she said, if you need another job, there's a bar in Hillsborough Village called Belcourt Taps if you want to try working there. And so that got me in there. It wasn't even the music side of it. So that's the first time I'm thinking that's such a God thing that he put me in this bar. It sounds crazy to think God put you in a bar. That I don't know, people, whatever. But I'm in this bar, and I'm around some fantastic songwriters. It really inspired me. And for a little while, nobody even knew I was a songwriter. And similar to the thing at that coffee shop where I opened mic and pitching my song, I got on stage and played and had a similar experience. People were like, whoa, that song, and it was encouraging to me. And then that place not only became my job, it became where I played music. It became where I crashed and burned, all the things that come with a bar. I mean, all those, it was all part of the story, but it was like, that place, that little bar has a special place in my heart.
I love that.
Yeah. Belcourt Taps.
See, okay. Well, we'll talk about it later, but that's like the kind of place I'm like, I want to find a place like that.
Everyone's
just to go hang and be in that. And that's one of the reasons why, thank you for sharing all that. I really do want to talk about that later. And you should write the book.
Okay.
Or write a song. Write a song about it. Seriously. Kind of like Cheers, but the Nashville version of the Cheers.
Yeah. One of my friends has written a song. Multiple people have written songs about that bar. Maybe not referencing it exactly. One of them did actually reference it exactly, but it's super impactful. Okay,
so you said something about, how did you put it? You said God put you in a bar.
Yeah. That sounds sacrilegious.
You're going to go, no, you're going to go, okay, you're
He used a bar.
You're going to go, you're corny for going there, but I'm going to go there. God put you in a bar to someday develop Jesus in a bar.
That
That's
was
all I'm gonna
definitely
say.
instrumental. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, because so so I love hearing that, and I want to talk. I want to hear a little bit about Jesus in a Bar because I want people to know about it,
Yeah.
and then you're going to talk about and play a song for us too.
Let's
So
go. Jesus in a
fill
bar.
us in.
Yeah.
Tell the people about Jesus in a Bar.
Yeah. And Julie, I don't want to overdo my time because I can get to talking. So
You're fine.
cut
We'll
me
just
off.
cut you off.
Cut me off at any minute.
No.
So Jesus in a bar. Man. Working at bars, and specifically that bar, Belcourt Taps, I saw a similarity between bars and churches. And maybe like one thing that put that thought in my head was a songwriter that played at that bar that wrote a song, Bars and Churches. And he said, we all come here lost. We all come here hurting, bars and churches, something like that.
Yeah.
And what you realize from bars and churches is one of the things that draws people to those two places is looking for community, period.
Yep.
And it shows the human need for human interaction and also a longing to belong somewhere. Some people could see both places as a way to escape, to go to a church, to go to a bar. And
Good
some of your
point.
regulars at your bar, it's almost like they're be like the church membership of that bar, you know, like they've been there. They show up there after work every day, and sometimes you'll know more about them than their spouse may know. Like, I mean, it's just, this is their place. And so that idea was always in the back of my head. And I had such an unusual upbringing to begin with, being in a commune, you know, super religious, I would say. And my understanding of God had always been first as a father, kind of as a judge, like somebody you're trying to please. And then when I went to go do music, I kind of got lost in that world of, you know, the things that come with chasing a music dream and being a bartender. There's a lot of partying, and the lifestyle kind of, you drift away from pursuing God, I would say. I had a pretty low point in 2020 from a series of things that happened and choices I had made. And I knew I wasn't pursuing God at this point. I wasn't really even going to, I'd quit going to church. I even wrote a song called I Don't Go to Church Anymore that kind of illustrated that. And I would spend more time in bars, and I was just, 2020, it was a crazy year for a lot of people. It was a breaking point for me because of a number of things. And I went down roads to try to make myself feel better, and got worse. And eventually I cried out to Christ, cried out to Jesus. And like I said, I understood God as a father and as a judge, mostly, if I was going to describe him to someone prior to this. And it was almost like he was up there saying, I know you know me, but I can't wait till you meet my son. And the only way that you can know Jesus is to need Jesus. And the only way to recognize that need is to recognize you're a sinner. And when you reach a point where I was at, where you just like, I don't feel like the good guy in the story anymore, like I had most of my life, and I feel like I need to be saved. And I cried out to the Lord, and there's more to that story, and I know we're short on time, but my life changed dramatically after that. Supernatural changes. And I just started to believing that there was something within me greater than myself, and I would see God show up in miraculous ways in my life. And the change that happened in my life over that year was so dramatic that people that knew me without me telling them what had happened were looking at me saying, what happened to you?
Oh, my word.
They were seeing the change visually in my demeanor, and even guys that I had partied with, like, and even I remember people saying, well, what are you talking about, pre-Jesus Josh or you know, post-Jesus Josh? Like, they were like differentiating the two guys. Even like one guy that worked at the bar was like, dude, you look different. And I remember him saying, you just look well rested. And that was such,
wow.
that's a great word to use to describe one of the fruits of the Spirit, you know, peace. And so anyway, I just began to talk more about my faith, and in a way that didn't feel like it came from a place of obligation. I just wanted to tell people about Jesus. I was so excited about this, and I believed in it. And this led me to meet a guy named Ben Fuller at a like kind of a clothing drive / songwriters night. We were both there, super small, in somebody's apartment. He hadn't blown up yet, and I played a song. I think I played I Don't Go to Church Anymore. And I actually I was telling my story, and he came on stage shortly after me, and as we were crossing paths, he said, I liked that song. That led to a conversation. We realized we had a lot in common, especially our love for Jesus. And he introduced me to his manager at the time. She was managing like 4 or 5 other artists that played Christian music. And she asked me to help her book around at a bar I was affiliated with that was actually owned by the owner that had started Belcourt Taps. And so we went,
Oh my word.
we made this happen.
Gosh.
First Writers Round, Jesus in a Bar's Writers Round, was at this place called Cabana Taps. And while I was sitting there watching this take place, it wasn't even the official first round because we hadn't even created the page yet, but this is what would lead to inspiring that movement. I'm sitting at the bar watching these artists sing, and I was like, this has got to be a thing. And I went to her later and I said, we got to make this a thing, because they're like singing songs about Jesus in a bar. Like the contrast was so wild, and it just stands out more. Light stands out more in darkness. And because everything, whenever you hear Jesus stuff, it's usually in a church or in a church event. And so I was like, this will be called Jesus in a Bar. That was the thought that came to me. And so I told her, and the name itself has I don't know. It's just, I was like, I got a breakfast today. When people, I was wearing a name tag that said Jesus in a Bar, and people are, introducing, oh, that sounds like everyone's interested immediately, because it's like Jesus in a bar, like
totally
Jesus in a bar. People get offended by the word Jesus. Christians get offended by the word bar. Put them together.
Put it all together.
And you kind of it definitely inspires more conversations with people that don't believe in Jesus when they see Jesus in a bar. They're like, hold on a second, what Jesus? Is this the same Jesus that everyone else is talking about? And so
and people who aren't comfortable going into a church to hear about him.
Yeah. And so it started in bars, and it's led me since to go behind bars into prisons. I probably play in prison more than anywhere else these days. And then we also like to go into nursing homes. And the concept now is just to bring the hope and light of the gospel on the wings of song to all the stages we believe Jesus would go, to the least, the last, and the lost. And he left the big stage, heaven, came down to earth.
The least, the last, and the lost.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I definitely stole that from
love
somebody
that
else.
alliteration.
I didn't create that. But yeah, just the idea that Jesus was on the biggest stage, and he came down to the smallest. And on our careers, we're chasing the biggest stage. And maybe the stages that Jesus would be interested in are the small ones, are the hidden ones, are the secret stages, I sometimes call them. And that those are the ones where he's in the audience. Not that he's not in the audience in the others, but he says, whatever you've done unto the least of these, you've done unto me. So that would mean in those environments, he's there. And God says he sees what we do in secret. So if no one else is watching this and we're doing it for him, he's watching it. And it's more important to have Jesus in the audience and God watching and approving than anybody else. And so that's kind of the idea behind Jesus in a Bar, and that I can't take credit hardly, even though sometimes I like to. God, it was so like organically happened. And Crystal, who started it with me, she had tons of connections in the music industry. So, I mean, we've had everybody from an independent artist to big name artists play, and everyone's been interested in it. And I think we're getting some fresh new life in it now. And hopefully the community grows and it touches more people.
I think it's amazing. I remember the first one I went to after I moved here, because I was trying to get out and do a lot of rounds and just go watch and hear. And I joined NSAI, and I'd done their conference and all the things. And I will confess, I never had the guts to go to one of the pitch nights. I did it at one of the conferences. I did it, and it was a great experience. But I had friends that were like, you got to show up and do that. And I'm like, I don't think I'm ready. Yeah. But anyway, that's an aside. So I think the first one I went to, the friend said, hey, let's go to this thing. It's Jesus in a Bar. They're going to be at this. I was like, what? Not in a bad way, but it was just like, it is such an attention grabber. And you're right. People in bars don't necessarily want to talk about Jesus, and people in churches go, wait, what, bars? So I love the combo. And I love the work you're doing. Thank you for doing it. And thanks for being so open to being that creative, to creating that space for anybody to show up and feel comfortable. I mean, I invite people, and I will, people that I got several friends who don't know Jesus. I'm going to be like, come listen to some
Yeah.
good music.
Yeah.
So I just want to say thank you for doing that.
Thank you. I mean, it was, like I said, it was kind of a team effort. It was, and somewhat effortless because how many people were excited about it. So it's like it's a communal effort, a community of people that want to do it. And yeah, it's been an adventure. It's created a lot of cool relationships.
And you've created a cool community for people.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, God's done the work.
Yep.
He's just using me. So.
Well, thanks for being the hands and feet.
Well, there you go.
And thanks for being on the show. And tell us,
Yeah.
what are you going to sing for us?
Man, see now that I was kind of going back
Sorry.
and forth. I was going back and forth.
Now I want to hear it. I won't tell you because I want you to do what you want to do. But I have thoughts.
Well, give me your thoughts.
No. You do what you want to.
So I have a couple songs. Why don't I let you choose?
Okay.
I could do a worship one or it's not even entirely worship. It has a simple title called Jesus Loves You, and it's about kind of the concept of what we're talking about with Jesus in a bar a little bit. I have a song that kind of more illustrates me leaving my small town called Small. That's more country. That was the other one that came to my mind. And then I have a rendition of a song that I play a lot, What the World Needs Now, where I put Jesus' name in there. And it's
I don't know.
oh my gosh. Do we need to
Jack, what do you want? We'll let you be the tiebreaker because all three sound great.
You got to be the tiebreaker.
Okay. All right. I want Small.
Okay, that was actually the one that was starting to come to my mind.
Just because I know I probably need to hear it, and probably there are a lot of people that need to hear it because we're all afraid of going big or whatever you mean by it. And I have no idea what this song is about.
I think it'll give people peace of mind that are all feeling like they need to be big. You ready? I'm a small man from a small town with dreams too big to keep on the ground. Spread my wings, heaven bound. Burn my head on hell's high fire, chasing down my dark desire. Went so far my heart expired. The further along I go, feels like the less I know. And all the people and the places are the winds that keep me changing. 'Cause I thought I'd be big someday. I hear them small town folks all say I knew that boy when he was young. Now look at just how far he's come. And all along the way I found the little things that slow me down more than what I thought. After all, maybe the biggest things are small. The biggest things are small. Like late night shows in empty bars and brand new songs on old guitars, laying underneath the stars and hanging on to part-time jobs and making out in parking lots and conversations drunk with God. Hurt myself but learned a lot, 'cause I thought I'd be big someday. I'd hear them small town folks all say I knew that boy when he was young. Now look at just how far he's come. And all along the way I found the little things that slow me down more than what I thought. After all, maybe the biggest things are small. Small. Every stranger that I met, every girl I can't forget, every reason for believing in the dream that I keep dreaming, every story, every scar, they're what makes us who we are. Ain't it always in just the small things? 'Cause I thought I'd be big someday. I'd hear them small town folks all say, I knew that boy when he was young. Look at just how far he's come. And all along the way I found the little things that slow me down more than what I thought. After all, maybe the biggest things are small. The biggest things are small. I'm a small man from a small town with dreams too big to keep on the ground, spreading my wings heaven bound.